For the past couple of years, I've done this practice to help my marriage, my job, my family, my friendships, my prayer life, just this one thing. And I don't even know how it began. I think it began in me understanding that all of the ills of the family, the good and the bad, and especially the bad, was all my fault. So, the first thing to recognize, guys, is whether you're married or not, that everything that you got going on in your life or not going on, all your vices, the goodness, whatever, all the degrading things that you do, or you're degraded by maybe it's a wife or a girlfriend or a family member, a boss, whatever it is, to understand that that's all your fault and take on that responsibility. And the practice that I started doing after realizing that, and it was quite accidental, is at the end of the day, or sometimes even during the day, and I have notes upon notes upon notes upon notes that I took, and it's kind of like journaling, but it's not. It's I don't know. It's an evaluation. That's what I call it, eval. I call it leadership eval. So leadership evaluation. Just take throughout the day, or maybe at the end of your day, and I suggest you do this. Try just with a pen and a paper. That's the easiest thing because it slows you down. Don't have your phone, don't have anything else. Just cut out a couple minutes for you to go in and sit down somewhere and just do a leadership evaluation. And think all the places that you like. First of all, you're taking ownership, right? So you gotta, because right, you lead, like you're the man of the house, like all that good stuff. Like you're the not, well, you're not the author of your life because God's the author of your life, but all those things going on in your life that maybe cause chaos or issues or wife or friends or family, it's all, those are all of your doing, right? Taking on that responsibility, then doing the leadership eval. So what I would do is take daily leadership notes on the language that I used towards like folks in my family, bosses, because it's very easy for us guys to point fingers and do the blame game. Well, oh, if only if the economy was better, if only if my wife was nicer, if only if, you know, I wasn't fat. If only if. There's the pointing fingers like only if game and blaming the situation. So this is kind of flipping that script and saying, while this stuff might not be perfect over here, that's in your realm, that's in your life, you still own it. It's still yours, right? And you can lead through it. So I would like, look at the language that you use throughout the day. Start to get nitty and gritty with your daily, or maybe it's not daily, just maybe it's every couple days of your leadership evaluation. And take a look at the words you use in leading your family and leading your wife and leading your children and making decisions for the house, and how you lead other people within your realm, right? So language that I noticed that I used quite a bit that would cause a leadership like degradation was can I, can you, we should, if I do X, can we, if you do this, can you be nice to me, can you give me this, um, you can, all that type of you know language that takes the leadership off of you and puts it on to somebody else in a negotiation, especially in marriage, in family life, anything in a realm with work, especially in a sales position, any leadership position. I mean, anything. I mean, you could be be grinding at a warehouse. It's the same thing. You could still find a way to lead that team, or even if you don't have quote unquote the authority to lead, you could assume that authority to lead. And it becomes a lot easier once you take the ownership and you know that you can, because you've started doing a quick leadership evaluation. So think about the language that you use and phrasing questions to your wife or potential wife, such as like, if I do X, or you can, or can I, or can you, or any of these things become, and to other people too in the workplace, they become very harmful. And what they do is they degrade you as a man, and they degrade you as a leader, as a husband, as a father, right? So think about the language that you're using. And whenever you degrade yourself, you're putting yourself underneath, right? You're saying that I'm not leading, I'm asking for permission to lead. Kind of understand, like, grasp that concept. So you're asking permission by that language of, can I lead? Can I plan? Can I do? Will you? If I do X, will you do this? Like that changes the, I guess you could say it changes the power dynamic, but it really changes the leadership and what you're expected to do um, as a man. The other thing too is when you put ownership of those responsibilities, okay, on your wife, here's what you're doing. You end up, I know this sounds crazy, guys, you end up degrading your wife, right? Because she's expecting you to lead in certain and be masculine enough to lead and intelligent enough to lead in many, 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 many situations, or to delegate those tasks appropriately, right? That are not your task, to delegate it to capable parties that can complete the task. When you're not doing it and you're asking permission, not only you're degrading yourself, but you're also degrading your wife. And you're putting the leadership role and saying, here, it's on you. I don't got this. I can't do this. I don't got it. And you're forcing her to be in charge over whatever it might be, whatever you're lacking in, as well as you're becoming a subject of her. And in a way, when you're also using this language and in leadership, the can I, would I, please, if I do X, you're acting as a child, right? So now your wife or people that you work with are going to be treating you as a subject, as a child. And that's not going to be good for your marriage, and it's not going to be good for your job either. So part of your leadership evaluation has to be taking charge over all those things and understanding them. So you could do at the end of the day, or maybe at the beginning of the day, do the past day, do whatever it was, reflect on it, take a couple minutes quietly, no phone, no computer opened up in front of you, like no YouTube, no earbuds in, like none of that stuff. Just quiet, you and a pen, and think about all the situations that you had that you could have led properly and how you could have led them. And I'm saying do it with a pen and a piece of paper is because the slowness of putting down the words onto paper, it gets you to really, really think of, precise words and precisely how you could have taken ownership and led through a situation. And they're the most common situations. They're the situations of your daily life. So with your wife, the interactions with your wife, work, clients, customers, things that you said you were going to do and then didn't do, where you didn't take leadership, or you didn't set a deadline, you didn't set the proper date or the timeline, or expectations properly, where you use that piss poor language of can I, will I, please, if I do X, and made yourself a subject in a degraded whatever, first child, second, third, fourth, fifth child to your wife, how you put responsibility upon your wife for things that you should be shouldering, and degraded yourself that way and kind of put yourself underneath her in a way that's unfair to her. It's unfair. So take a look of all those things that is in your realm of responsibility. And knowing too that not only is it in your realm of responsibility, but you're responsible for your wife. You're responsible for your family relationships. You're responsible for the relationships of the children. You're responsible for uh, your work interactions. All of it. You have to lead all of those things. So first, you got to be also responsibility. You have a responsibility to lead yourself. So self leading and understanding how to lead yourself and where you failed is one of the big important things, because if you could take ownership of where you failed and understand that, then you have authority, right? Without that, without you pointing the finger at you and saying, where have I failed that caused this situation to spiral out of control or cause this argument, you're taking responsibility for those things. Now let's go one step deeper. What is the principle that you lead from or lead under? What is your governing creed? Now, here's where it's going to get tricky, guys, is you can't just make this up. You can't just get the best business book on leadership. Yeah, I guess you could. But at the end of the day is you need a foundation and a subject of rules that guide your leadership, right? The Bible is great for that. The creed of the Holy Catholic Church is great for that. The commandments are great for that. A lot of guys want to say, I can do all these things without religion, but they fail to recognize that the bones of religion, the bones of the creed give you a foundation. The bones of the commandments of the Bible give you a roadmap on how to accomplish these things. And by no means am I saying use religion as a utility, because I think that's bad, but use religion as the bones of the structure of the walls of the foundation of how to lead. So, quick recap, whatever, in the morning, whenever you have quiet time, like, figure it out. When you got 10 minutes to yourself or so, 5 minutes to yourself, no earbuds, no nothing, no screens, just you, a notebook, a pen, slowly do a leadership evaluation, taking ownership of all of the situations from the past day or from, the end of the day. Whenever you do your kind of quote unquote leadership evaluation, look at work, marriage, children, relationships, customers. Just take a look at all of it. Think about the language that you used in all those interactions and how you can correct it. And slowly but surely over time, you're going to understand very quickly who you are, how to properly lead, and you're going to be making small corrections. The other thing too is don't tell anyone, just go execute. You don't need to project it. You don't need to tell your wife, like, I'm working on myself and self-help, and I'm going to show myself that I can lead this, because that's just ridiculous, guys. It's just ridiculous. So just quietly execute. Just quietly execute it. And if your notes are found, like, who cares, man? They're leadership notes. Like, there's so much like weirdness in marriages and relationships today, and so don't project it. You don't need to tell everybody about, like, this is the exercise that I'm doing. I'm telling you guys about it because it's just guys, but I'm telling you not to tell your wife, right? Not to tell your bosses, not to tell your children. Just do the leadership evaluation. Look at your language, look at your actions, look at how you occurred, make the corrections, and then, take it a step deeper and figure out situations where you can lead that situation. Because a lot of times, the issues that you have in life, they're not, one and done fixed. They weren't one and done corrected back then. You didn't lead them. Maybe you shrugged off the leadership and you shouldn't have. Take responsibility though, start to correct it. You don't need to make like a big show of it. Just do it. Shut up and do it. So a few words, take action, take ownership, do the evaluations, use the language, and start to change the language to more of an ownership and not of a asking permission language. and everything's going to start to change for you. And you don't need to tell anybody either. Don't tell anybody. So subscribe to my channel, like, share, whatever. That's it. Out.